What up, y'all? Welcome to the channel. My name is Darnell, and together with my better half, Ayana, we are the Navigators. If it's your first time here, please drop a like, feel free to leave a comment, and navigate to that subscription button, and be sure to ring that bell to get notified every single time we drop new content. Alright, so in today's video, we took a trip to Orlando, Florida, and stopped at Disney World Orlando. Specifically in this video, we took a trip to Disney's Animal Kingdom, which is basically a very large zoo. So there are 4 parks that encompass Disney World Orlando, and this is just one of the ones that we visited on our trip. So as you can see, the capacity for a very long line. It took us a couple of minutes to get from the start to the actual boarding of the Jeep. Thankfully that we went first thing in the morning, so we were able to avoid a very long line, thankfully, because it was extremely hot, as Florida usually is. So you get in line, they section you off by how many people are in your group. You do end up sitting next to strangers most of the time, unless you have a large group together. You get in the Jeep. As you proceed, the driver is the guide, and there's a microphone in the Jeep, and he tells you exactly what you can expect. Basically goes over the safety protocols, make sure you keep your arms, legs, everything inside the Jeep. Filming is, as you can see, a-okay. No issues at all, but it is an open area, so the animals are not restrained in any way, shape, or form. So make sure that you do, exercise caution. So the first animal that we came across was a saddle-billed stork. Most of these animals that we encounter are from the woodlands and the Sahara section of Africa. This particular animal is called a bongo. As we proceed, we came across a black rhino. There are 2 types of rhinos that they have here. This one in particular is the black rhino. Again, as you can see, again, a very open area. They do try to create gaps in between. That is a greater kudu. Not something I've heard of before. Some of these are going to be hard to see just by nature. This is the Stanley crane. Some of the birds were hard to identify, so I went to the website, tried to look up all the animals that they had listed. I even have a picture of the animal strip. So there's an animal listing inside the Jeep. This here is a Nile crocodile. So again, there's a strip that lists all the animals inside the Jeep to help you identify, and then the guide will point things out as you come across them. Of course, this is a giraffe. What's weird about it is they could walk right up to the Jeep. Those are not carnivores, they're herbivores, so they don't really pose a threat. But it is very intimidating when you have something that large walk straight up to you. These are hyenas. They're hard to see. They're in that little alcove right there. They were asleep, but those are hyenas. Again, another giraffe. So as you drive around, you take twists and turns, and sometimes you do come across animals again. The wildebeest, the ones that killed Mufasa, rest in peace James Earl Jones. These are called eland, if I'm pronouncing that right, E-L-A-N-D. Never heard of them before. Look kind of like a goat or a mountain goat type of animal. And then we came across the African elephants. As you know, very majestic, very large in stature. So they do create a large gap in between you and the elephants, even though they're not restrained. There is like a moat or a small river that keeps you across or away from some of these larger and potentially more dangerous animals. Elephants usually have a very mild temperament, but if you make them mad and you piss them off, they can do a lot of damage. So then we came at the right time. They had the baby out. Little baby was hella cute. So these are coming up are flamingos. If you go to any standard zoo, you can definitely catch flamingos. I know we currently live in Dallas, and going to the Dallas Zoo, we've seen flamingos. We visit a lot of zoos, so every zoo that we've ever been to has had flamingos. Coming up after we leave the flamingos, this was the coolest part right here. So this is the white rhino, and we literally had to stop the Jeep and let them cross. This was dope. Very, very dope. As you can see, there's nothing stopping the rhino from actually taking the left at Albuquerque and, rampaging straight towards the Jeep, but there wasn't anything that happened. But that was so dope, because to be that close, it's not something that you get to experience every day. And then here you got the king of beasts sitting up on his perch. Didn't necessarily feel like they tried to recreate Pride Rock, which is something I really felt that they should have done, or made it look more like Pride Rock. But yeah, this is a male lion. There were a couple of female lions in the background. I don't know if you can see them in the video or not. Yeah, there's one right there. All right, next section is warthogs, and then moving quickly over to the okapi, which is a mixture of kind of a horse, donkey, zebra type of vibe. One of the stranger animals that you will find out in the Wild Kingdom. So after you leave the safari, you come upon the meerkats. As everybody knows, meerkat is one half of the Timon and Pumbaa duo. And as you can imagine, there was plenty of Lion King references between the lions, the warthogs, and now the meerkats. So this was cool, seeing them in their environment. You get to view them from between a glass wall. Off in the back, which I wasn't able to really get a good video of, you can see some of the zebras. I neglected to put the zebras in the video because all it was an ass end of a zebra. And then after you leave the meerkat, you move on to Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. It's broken off into two sections of viewing. This part is the more of your zoo type of viewing of gorillas, where you're separated by glass, plexiglass. This, I believe, is one of the older gorillas in the enclosure. There were a couple of babies. You'll see a baby come in a minute here. And then there's another area, which we'll get to in a second, which is an open area, and you can see them really in their own environment, which was really cool. And we had a nice conversation with one of the employees about watching the gorillas online. And there's a website, I can't remember what the website is, but it is a pretty immersive experience. So the next part of the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail, you walk over this bridge and it takes you to the open area, and you get to see more of the gorillas in what would be a replication of their natural habitat. climbing trees in the bushes. And it just brings you a little bit more realism than your standard zoo would do, because they are more confined in the zoo and in an enclosure, and it feels more like, a fishbowl than it does just actually observing the gorillas as they normally would interact with each other. So, like I said, it's a really cool experience if you're interested in seeing animals up close and personal and seeing them behave as a normal animal would, as opposed to something that is, trapped and encaged. And that's why I didn't want to film the zebras, because as you saw, the gorilla gave me a good shot of his ass. But moving on. In this next section, there's a bunch of different types of birds and fish. It's more of an enclosed area, but it is still open for the birds to fly around. As you see, there's ducks and some other stuff. I'm not really sure what those are, but it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Little section off of after you get out of the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. Here we have a hippopotamus. Technically you can see the hippo from the safari ride, but unfortunately on this day we couldn't see him because he was below water, so they do have a separate section for you to view the hippo. If you've never seen one up close, it is a cool experience to see how large they really are. So just a couple other sides of the park. This is Expedition Everest, the only roller coaster in the park. This is the Tree of Life, pretty much rooted at the center of the park. A massive tree, and in the trunk of the tree, just carvings of various animals. I believe you can walk through the tree. There is some type of experience inside the tree that I believe we didn't get a chance to go in it. Then moving on to the Pandora world of Avatar. It's like a recreation of the Avatar movie. Very cool experience to actually walk around and feel like you're in a movie. Other parts of the park that we didn't get to actually go to. In Asia, they have the Maharaja Jungle Trek. You can see tigers, gibbons, bats, Komodo dragon, other types of animals. And then there are other animals around the park. Cotton-top tamarins, vultures, otters, anteaters, kangaroos. So all in all, we had a great time. I highly recommend, especially for kids, because they do have a Dinoland Kiddie area as well. So I highly recommend taking your family and having a great experience. Pack plenty of water because it does get hot and there's a lot of walking involved. But all in all, great experience. Thanks for watching, and drop a like. Thanks.